When I first started watching Squid Game, I thought this storyline is wild, intense, creative, definitely messed up, but obviously just a fiction. But then I started seeing people online comparing it to something called Brother's Home, a real place in South Korea. For the people who haven't watched Squid Game, it is basically about 456 people who are desperate, struggling, and in serious debt. These people are individually invited to participate in a series of games to win a huge prize. The games are based on classic Korean children's games like Red Light, Green Light, Tug of War, Hide and Seek, and so on. The catch? If you lose in these games, you're eliminated permanently. So did this actually happen in real life in Brother's Home? Brother's Home was a massive facility in Busan, South Korea. It operated for over 2 decades, spanning from the 1960s into the late 1980s. It was called a welfare center, a place where people in need such as the homeless, disabled, or those dealing with addiction could supposedly get help, shelter, and support. But reports from survivors, journalists, and investigators say it was a prison camp, where tens of thousands of people were taken there by extreme force. And some of them were children, and they were all sent to Brother's Home without trial, without warning, and without any contact with their families. Inside the facility, people were kept behind high walls and barbed wires. They were stripped of their names and identity, and they were forced into unpaid labor, making bricks, clothing, and other goods for companies that profited of their labor. If someone disobeyed the rules or tried to resist, they were often beaten, locked in isolation, or left without any food. Estimates vary, but at its peak, Brother's Home held more than 3,000 people at once, and reports suggest that over 500 people may have died there. And the craziest thing about all of this is that it didn't happen in secret. The operation was happening in the open. I mean, Brother's Home received funding and it operated under government approval. Its director even received awards, and at one point, he became a member of South Korea's National Assembly. So this wasn't the failure of one facility. It was a failure of an entire system that allowed it to exist for more than 20 years. Brother's Home was finally shut down in the late 1980s due to police investigations, and yet it was closed without much attention, and what happened behind its walls was kept in the dark for decades, hidden from the public and ignored by history. And it wasn't until the 2010s that the survivors began to speak out, revealing the inhumane conditions they endured inside what some have called South Korea's concentration camp, Brother's Home. So is Squid Game based on Brother's Home? Is it actually based on a true story? The answer is no. There's no direct connection. The games, the setting, the characters, all of that is fiction. The creator of Squid Game has said that it was inspired by his own experiences with debt and inequality. But it's fair to say that Squid Game is inspired by real-world issues. Things like inequality, poverty, debt, and systems that fail people who are already struggling. In that way, it's not based on a true story, but it does reflect real truth. And that's why people are drawing a comparison between the two. It shows us that the line between fiction and reality isn't always as clear as we'd like it to be.